So we're going to start with formatting cells, and these are all the aspects that we're going to look at in this particular video tutorial. So I hope you have your Excel spreadsheet open and ready to play with. Okay, so first thing we're going to look at alignment. So in Microsoft Word, that word alignment should be quite familiar, and if it is familiar, which it should be, then this will make it easier for you to use on Excel. So I'm going to bring up these different ribbons. So what we're going to pay special attention here for alignment is this one here, where it says home. Now remember, we're talking about cells, formatting cells, so it's more about these fellas here and not formatting the page. So let's look at alignment. By default, if I type something in here, if I go Monday, notice that it's defaulted to align so that all my text goes to the left. Now if I type in a number 1, numbers go to the right. Now sometimes you want to change this default alignment. For example, sometimes it might look better to align column headings to the center, in the middle. You don't really notice this here because the cells are a bit shorter, so I'm just going to extend that. Now you look here, Monday, it's still on the left, and sometimes it might look better in the middle. So there are ways that we can change this. Now what I'm going to do is, just so we have information to work with, I'm just going to type in the dates here. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and let's put up Friday. And I'm going to make them bold, which we'll talk about later, so don't worry too much if it's not bold. Now, the way that you can change the alignment of these cells is you can select the cells that you want to format. So for in this situation, I'm going Monday to Friday. And this cell is A2 to E2. And that's my selection at the moment. Now, I can either change the alignment by selecting this text and then going to the home ribbon. And over here where you see the alignment option, you'll see here that there's an option to align the text. I can either choose to align left, which it already currently is. I can center it, and you notice how much more tidier it might look centered. Or I can align it to the right. So that's the alignment of text. Now another way that you can do that is you can select the text, right click, and automatically this pop-up will come up. Now with this pop-up, you'll see an option here, and that'll just automatically center. So if I click center, so if you're wanting a faster way to center it, you might want to do that. There are a lot of different ways to align or format your cells. So if we click here and you go to the home section, go to alignment, and you'll see this box allows for more options. Another one that you might find useful is the text orientation. So sometimes you might want the text to go this way while you got text going that way. There's another way option here called wrap text. That's pretty useful. It allows you to go on to another line in that cell. So if I typed in quite a bit, and I'll show you here. Maybe we go on Monday, we went to the shop to buy food. Okay. So if I wrap the text, notice here that it's going into the cell. If I wrap the text so that it just stays inside itself, I can click on wrap text, OK, and it automatically cleans itself up so that it's not going into another cell. There are quite a few options here for alignment. So horizontally, I might want it to go left. And let's say that this cell's bigger. Let's say I don't want it to go down to the bottom, but I want it to go to the top. So go back to alignment. And vertically, I want it to go to the top. So horizontally means this way, so straight. And vertically means talking about that way, upwards to downwards. So if I say vertically, I want this to go to the top, look what happens. So no matter how big this thing is, it'll stay in the top. I could also vertically say maybe I want that to be in the middle, so center. And there you go. I want you to try this as you're watching this video so that and test it, and don't be afraid to play around with it. And that's just alignment that we've covered. Let's have a look at fonts. So here we go. We've got Monday to Friday. You're probably wondering how I got it to go bold. Just like in Microsoft Word, you go to Home and Fonts here, and it works almost the same way. So I can change the font, as you can see here. Not a big fan of the ones I'm seeing so far, but we'll handle that one for now. You can change the style, so I can either make it bold, which you saw me do. I can go italic, and I can do underline. Now, you can use, if you know your shortcut keys, they also work here. So Control B, Control I, same thing. You can change the color. So maybe I want these headers to be like a darker blue. And same as, let's have a look here, same as increasing and decreasing the size. And you can change that here as well. Now this is the format cells window. You can open that by clicking on, and you might want to select your text first, and that little pop-up will come up here. And you can do the same thing, so you can do strike through. Maybe you want your text to strike through, or subscript, super or subscript, and those options will all appear here. And that's your fonts. Now, if I want to color this in, say I'm a colorful person, I might go darker grey and maybe a light grey, bit of a plain Jane here. So you can do that by selecting your text and choosing this paint bucket tool. So again, just similar to Microsoft Word, maybe I want to be a bit more adventurous and go for lighter green, and because this is the header, we'll go maybe a dark green. How's that? Not too great looking, but that's a gist of how the color works for the paint bucket. Other things you can do is if you want to go more in depth with the paint bucket, you can do that little pop-up again and bring up more colors, and that gives you more options outside that normal range. Okay. And so we're going to go cell borders. So let's just pretend, and I'm going to bring these colors back to normal, no fill. Let's go darker color. Let's go dark grey or even black, and make the text white. Let's say I'm creating a timetable, so let's say 8:30 to 9 to 10, well, 9 to 9:30, and 9:30 to 10. Now, let's say we're making a timetable instead for the spreadsheet. So let's say I wanted to make a table of a spreadsheet showing the timetables of that. Now, you'll notice that even though we can see these lines here, that when we actually print it, they don't show. So I'm going to show you what it looks like when we try and print it. So when you try and print it, this is what it will actually look like. No lines. And that's why we need to create borders, and this is something you do quite a lot of with Excel, when you start using it more often is creating borders. So we're going to select a range and create a border. Now the easiest way that you can do this is by selecting the text, and then in the home under font you'll see an option of borders. Now I'm going to be basic and then just create all borders, and notice here that there's borders, and if I try and print, this is what it'll look like. So much more clearer. Alright. Now other things you can do with borders to be a bit more complex, and I want you to play around with this. So when you select more borders, you can choose certain areas to show lines. So let's say I don't want the middle line showing here, and I want Tuesday, Wednesday to be shown in one column, and I can do that by clicking here and removing that line. And I want you to play around with this so that you can see what I'm talking about here. So notice how it's got the borders here, but this one here hasn't got a line. So I want you to try it out, have a play around with it. Another cool thing that you can do is you can make thicker borders, and all it really takes is a lot of selecting and moving around in the border. Okay. Now when it comes to text, there's different types of formatting that you can put into a cell. Let's say instead for each day we're only really writing down money that we've spent. So maybe I might want to put $20, $30, $40 and $50. First thing we want to do is probably change the alignment. I'm going to do it right alignment. But what we're going to talk about here now is number formatting. So whenever you have a spreadsheet like this and you just have the numbers, people might not know what you're talking about. And the way that you can do number formatting is if you click on the Home tab and then under Number. When you click on that pop-up box, it'll give you an option to format the number that you've typed in certain ways. So I can either show it as a number with 2 decimal places. I can show it as money. I can show it as a date, as a time, a percent, a fraction, and all these other options here. Now, like I said, we're doing money, so I'm going to make it currency. Now, when you get a chance, I want you to try testing this out as well. Let's say we want to turn it, we were saying actually that's not right, it's not currency, it's a percentage. If I click here, you'll see that number in a percentage form. But what we want is money, and you'll see that it's formatted it to be like money. And you'll see that there are different options for different formats for different countries. And so that's number formatting. Quickly now, I just need to go through 2 more things with you. I'm going to right click and insert. And the reason for that is, let's say I wanted to do a header. And this is where you'll learn a few things here about resizing. So notice how that's quite, this column is quite wide. So I want to make it smaller. When you put your mouse over, that allows you to resize to either make things smaller or bigger. And notice how my mouse changes. Same here, smaller, smaller. Now another cool trick is if I highlight that from this column, or if I do the same here for the row, when I resize it, everything will resize. Okay, so that's resizing on a basic level. And what we need to go through now is merging. So very basic. Let's say I wanted to put a title here, but notice how there's all these different cells. I can turn that into one by highlighting the section, going home, and then click merge cells. And then I might call this timetable. And turn it into a header. Try this all out for yourself in a document, and then we're going to move on to the next activity.